Welcome to my channel. It's Corinne, K to the J. This video is going to be on my face routine, how I keep my face from melting off. I live in Arizona, so I need my... I don't know, my turtles just ate, so they're like going wild. I don't know what he's doing. Trying to like dig to China. But this video is going to be on how I make my makeup last. My base, how I make it last in this 100-degree weather. I do live in Arizona. It's summer now, about to be monsoon season, so it's going to be humid. But this video will be on how I do my base, how I make it last all day. I was at a pool party yesterday, and I did wear a full face, and it lasted me the entire day. I was there from 3 to like 9. And it did not move, it did not budge. It stayed exactly the way I wanted it to. Nothing moved. It was perfect. I thought I'd do this video on how to make your makeup last and not melt. So this is definitely 100-degree plus weather proof, sweat proof. I don't know about waterproof, but it's definitely sweat proof. So if you want to see how I make my makeup last all day, just keep watching. But subscribe before you keep watching, because, well, why are you here if you're not going to subscribe? So, I got my little headband on. I don't have a backdrop up today. So those are all my backdrops. Oh wait, right here. I'm gonna try a new thing where I don't use my backdrops for my YouTubes, just for like Instagram videos, Instagram tutorials, you know, those videos. So let me know in the comments if you like this more natural view, or if you guys like the backdrops where you don't see how dirty and messy my room is. So the first thing I do is, I tell everybody this whenever anybody asks me about makeup, how I do my makeup or how to make it last. The first thing I always ask them is, what do you prime with? Because primer is like so essential to life. I use probably, how many primers do I use? 4 different primers, give or take. After you have a clean face, you know, moisturized and everything, the first thing I like to prime with is Farsali Unicorn Essence, and this is a skin enhancing antioxidant serum, and it's, you probably see it all over Instagram, but it kind of just mattifies everything and gets everything ready. I'm like running out, I'm so sad. It just gets your skin ready for whatever you're gonna put on it, mattifies it, gives it a little bit of skin treatment, you know, a little skincare mixing with, you know, priming. And I just kind of get that everywhere, all over the face and a little down the neck, because, you know, if you kind of, your neck has to be primed just like your face. So my next primer is going to be the Smashbox primer, and it's a little bit on the high end side, but it's worth every penny in my opinion. I just use a little bit of it. It's kind of like a pore minimizing primer, and it definitely gives the blur of over your pores, you know what I mean? So I'm going to put it just right here under my eyes, and then a little bit kind of on my nose, and then whatever's left I rub it over under my nose, kind of like my lip area. And then you just, it kind of feels greasy at first, but once you rub it in, you can feel it rubbing into your skin. Okay, kind of let that sit for a second. I could probably use a chapstick. I'm gonna use this little lip balm that I got from Wet n Wild. It's their little cherry balm from the Pac-Man collection. Smells just like cherries. And then next, this isn't essential. Some people don't do it, some people don't need it, but I feel like it helps with my foundation. Afterwards, I'm going to color correct, and I use these 2 shades the most because I already hit pan on both of them. I first go in with orange, and then I cover it with the mint. So I'm just going to use a little palette brush from Beige Cosmetics, and I'm going to go into the orange. I'm going to put it under my eyes, and then around my lip, which is around my nose and around my lip. So I'm going to blend that all out. And then if I have any blemishes, I'm going to go ahead and cover that up too. I'm going to do the same thing, layer both the orange and the yellow, or the mint. But I just do it around my mouth and my nose because I have a little bit of redness. If you can hear the AC, I'm sorry, it's hot. I have some acne scars on this side of my cheek, so I'm going to go ahead and cover those up. And then I'm going to go over it with the mint. So the next step that I do is I'm going to use my foundation. I use the Milani Conceal Perfect in Sand Beige, and make sure you shake your foundation. So I use Sand Beige, and this is like a concealer and foundation mix, you know? It's a 2-in-1. And it says medium to full coverage, lightweight, oil-free foundation, long-wearing, water-resistant, and sweat-proof. And I wore this yesterday in 112-degree weather, and it did not melt off my face. So I believe the sweat-proof, waterproof, everything is totally, totally true. I'm just going to use one pump at first, and I mix it. This is another part of my priming. In my priming group, I mix it with the Skintune Blur from Farsali. And this is kind of just like, it kind of does the same thing that a pore minimizing primer would do, but it also gives a more full coverage effect to your foundation if you mix it together. So I just mix the two on the back of my hand, and then I'm going to just spot it everywhere. Usually one pump in the beginning will be good. I might need a pump after, but normally one pump will do me good. Always make sure you drag your foundation down your neck too, so it doesn't look like you're wearing a makeup mask. Okay, and then I'm going to go in with my Real Techniques beauty sponge and just blend it all out. So after foundation, I'm going to conceal and contour, and I use the Too Faced Sculpting concealers. So I'm going to go in with my contour first so that I can clean it up with my concealer. So I'm just going to do one line on both sides, and then two on the top of my forehead, and then one right here, and then a little right there. It looks crazy, I know, just give me 1 second. So I blend out my contour before I blend out my concealer, my highlighter, just because it makes it easier to clean it up after. I can use my highlighter to kind of edit, you know, because I do use a darker color, like a lot darker than my foundation for my contour. So if it gets messy, I can clean it up. And then whatever's remaining on my sponge, I go under my chin, along my jawline, and then we're going to bring this down. And just go down, just blending it downwards, and I'm blending this up. And then we're going to use a highlight shade, medium beige or natural beige, and just go one under, and then we're going to go right here and just bring it down a little bit. And that's my little highlight pattern. And I like to bring my concealer up my nose, and then I'm going to bring it down my landing strip, down the bridge of my nose, and then clean up under my chin or under my jawline, my cheekbones. And then I'm going to use the clean side of my sponge. Doesn't have a tip. I'm going to use the clean side to blend everything together, like especially right here, so you can see it's like, you can see it, yeah. We're going to blend it all together right with this side, because it doesn't have any product on this side, so we'll use that to blend everything together. This clean part of my sponge to go over my smile lines, because that's where I crease. Probably that's the only place I crease, but that's like the worst place that I crease. So I'm gonna go over and just use whatever is the clean side of my sponge to pick up any extra product that doesn't really need to be there, you know? And then to set, I'm gonna use two different setting powders. I'm gonna use, the first one's gonna be the No Filter Setting Powder from ColourPop, and I use it in the shade Banana. And I'm just going to use a Dose of Colors setting brush. I think this is actually their highlighter brush, but it's so perfect for setting for me. So I'm going to go over one more time just to make sure I don't set any creases under my eyes. And then we're just going to set all of our highlight spots. And then I'm going to go ahead and put a layer right in my crease line, or my smile lines. I just do a light layer with the ColourPop, and then I'm going to go in with this luxury baking powder from MakeupRevolution. And this is the mini size. I got the line at Ulta. You know how they have all those products in the line? I got this there, and I'm just going to go in with the same sponge we've been using and just set everything. Everywhere we put the banana powder from ColourPop, we're going to put the banana powder, baking powder. And then I'm going to go up the side of my nose and down the bridge. And then we're going to bake. Okay, so after I have my brows on, I'm going to go ahead and wipe off the bake. And actually what I like to do when I wipe my bake off is I like to use the brush that I bronze with. This is actually a dirty bronzer brush. I've used it probably the past 2 makeup applications. So it's not too dirty, but it is used. So I'm going to go ahead and brush off all my bake with it. I noticed that if I use my bronzer brush, there isn't that sheen, you know, that most of the time I get whenever I brush my bake off. It just looks like, you know, it looked like you baked, you know. So I like to use my bronzer brush, and then I just brush everything down, make sure I get all the areas I baked lightly. I don't brush too hard, but I do brush it off. So the last thing I do to set, you know, other than baking, is I'm going to go in with a setting spray. This is the All Nighter from Urban Decay, and this is probably my favorite setting spray, probably the one that I've been using the longest. So I'm just going to use a couple sprays everywhere, and then I'm going to go ahead and use my beauty blender to blend it out. Just a quick layer everywhere, and then I'm going to use my blender to push it into the skin so it doesn't just sit on the skin. It actually goes into the products that I put on my face and really sets it. And that's pretty much the last step for setting my face. And then I'm going to go ahead and bronze, blush, do my eyes, and then we'll come back and we will discuss. Okay, so I went off camera and I finished my face. I did my highlight, my lips, my eyes, lashes, brows, contour, everything. And this is the finished, well, this is my look for the day. It's been about an hour since I've put on my foundation and my concealer and my contour, and it still looks exactly the way it did right after I applied it and set it. If you haven't tried any of the products that I've tried, or you know, if you live in a hot climate, I live in Arizona, it's hot as fuck, so I need my makeup. If I wear makeup, I need it to stay. And I have noticed that using this right after I wipe my bake off and just kind of like pounding it into my face, into the products and everything, helps the longevity of my makeup. It helps make it last all day, all night, however long I need it to last. I won't get crease. It won't like, you know, slide or melt off my face. So that was my routine for if I want to make my makeup last. That's basically my face routine. I use the same products pretty much every single time. Nothing really changes. Like I said before, like if you don't prime your face, like you're really like setting yourself up for failure basically. It's like not studying for a test. Like what's the point of even taking the test? You know, what's the point of even putting foundation on if you're not going to prime your face? So yeah, that was my face routine, how to make my face makeup last forever in 100-degree plus weather. If you enjoyed this video, definitely give it a thumbs up, give it a like, share it, tell your friends, tell your mom, tell your dad, tell your grandma, tell anybody you want. Thank you so much for watching. I love you guys. Peace and love.